What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 3 of Betting the House. As always, I'm your host, Sully. We are live and presented by the Alithio Network. Let's get into it. Like always, Tuesdays, we're going to be talking about baseball and a little bit of WNBA. Let's get into it.
Before we start, you know what we got to do?
Oh, true. Yeah.
We got to give our surgeons warning.
The following content may discuss topics related to gambling. Gambling can be addictive and is not suitable for all individuals. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, help is available. In the U.S., contact the National Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-522-4700 or visit www.ncpgambling.org for resources and support. Illinois residents can also contact 1-800-426-2537 for local assistance. Please gamble responsibly and be aware of the risks involved. Must be 21 years or older if gambling in Illinois. All right, time to recap this past Thursday, or as I like to call it, my super sweaty weekend. Thursday, nothing. Both my parlay, terrible. Cowboys, Giants, also terrible night to have on Thursday nights. Whatever, fuck you, NFL. Sunday. Terrible. This is the sweatiest day of them all. I had the Packers winning by 2.5. Didn't happen, but let me tell you why. 2 interceptions, a turnover on downs, a missed field goal, and they only lost by 2.
It's the kicker, man.
Yeah.
It's the kicker's our issue. It's been our issue for a while, and we get a good kicker, we got a good team. I think so.
Yeah. I mean, I think so too. And it's Love's first game back, so the 2 interceptions can somewhat be written off, but let's hope he doesn't play like that again. Rams versus Bears. I took Rams at plus 2.5. Again, didn't hit. Fumble, a missed 42-yard field goal, and an interception, all in Chicago to lose by only 6. Like, that's ridiculous. And the one I did hit on Sunday, Jacksonville versus Texans. Jacksonville at plus 6.5. Let's go. So, if everyone played to their potential, that would have been 3 out of 3. First perfect day. Whatever. Let's move into college football recap. Oklahoma State versus K-State. K-State minus 5.5. It hit. Let's go. Ohio State at Michigan State. I bet over 48.5. Didn't hit. Here's why. MSU, 2 fumbles, an interception, a turnover on downs. Their 2 fumbles inside Ohio State's 20-yard line. Man. And then finally I had Arizona, Utah, which I think shocked everyone to watch number 10 Utah get beat up by unranked Arizona. So, yeah. Let's get away from that recap and move into some of the games coming up tonight. Playoff baseball is finally here. After Monday's doubleheader for the Braves and Mets, the results came in. They split it, meaning the Braves and Mets are in. The Arizona Diamondbacks are out. All right. Yankees, Guardians, Dodgers, and Phillies, all first-round buys and home advantage in the next series, the divisional series. So tonight, I guess rather in 2.5 hours-ish here, in the AL, the number 6 Detroit Tigers take on the Houston Astros in Houston. Look, like I said, playoff baseball's here, and I'm ready to talk about it. The Tigers made this improbable late season run to squeeze their way into the postseason for the first time since 2014. Houston started this season very slow and just basically beat up on this surprisingly terrible AL West to win the division and they earn their 8th consecutive playoff berth. Skubal and Valdez both on the mound, 2 of the favorite pitchers in the entire sport. And their matchup actually set the over-under to just 6.5 with a lot towards the under, the lowest of all the games today. I think Houston wins the series, but I don't think their game 1 odds are good. I think they're a bit inflated, and I honestly think I'm leaning towards Skubal in Detroit for this first game. Skubal's clear-cut Cy Young in the AL this year. leading the league in wins, strikeouts, and ERA. Finally able to stay healthy. Look what happens. 192 innings in his 31 regular season starts. And despite this tough matchup, I think it's very strong outing for Skubal tonight. Valdez, again, likely to pitch well, with good form, and Detroit's struggles against lefty pitchers in this past month. Tigers' bullpen is just better, and I think that could be the difference. So I think Game 1 upset Detroit money line at plus 126 odds. Game 2, 3 p.m. Kansas City Royals at Baltimore to take on the Orioles. I have the Orioles money line at minus 154. Look, the Royals are one of the 3 teams to make it out of the AL Central and get to the postseason this season. Their first opponent, the Orioles, at Camden Yard, Tuesday afternoon. The Orioles finished 5 games ahead of the Royals in the wild card race and are 4-2 head-to-head, even though they haven't played since April. Baltimore has all the momentum as they've won 11 of their last 15 to close out this season, whereas Kansas has only won 4 of their last 13 and had a pair of 7-game losing streaks. I think Corbin Burns takes it on the mound. Has a ton of experience under his belt from being in Milwaukee, and he's been locked in since the end of August. 2.92 ERA in 32 starts, and then an even better 1.29 ERA in his last 6 starts. His last 3 starts alone, he's 24 strikeouts, and his metrics don't show anything about slowing down. Yeah, I'm taking the O's to take care of business and secure the win in Game 1. Moving on, 4:30 Central Time. New York Mets take on the Milwaukee Brewers. I have this in a series bet at over 2.5 games played in this series at minus 110 odds. Like I said earlier, New York just played that doubleheader against the Braves on Monday to clinch a spot, and they also avoided a terrible matchup for them in the Padres. They're one of the hottest teams in this second half of the campaign, and it earned them a spot against the Brewers, who have had a couple problems around the plate and the mound. They have one of the highest strikeout rates in this postseason, but they've been a very middle of the road offense without Christian Yelich. Outside of Freddie Peralta, the remaining options in Milwaukee's starting rotation aren't very trustworthy either. That being said, Milwaukee is a great place to have a strong home field advantage and a terrific bullpen. So, yeah, I think that matters in a short series like this that's only 3. As for the Mets, this is an offense with top 10 unit in the league. They showed their experience at the plate again on that first win on Monday in Atlanta. Lindor, leading the way with Alonso, Nemo, and Vientos, all contributing. They have had serious questions on the mound, though, because Severino, Manea, McGill, and Peterson isn't really, I think, a recipe for success in October. They've been, their bullpen's been inconsistent. Diaz, hit or miss this season, 3.52 ERA, converting just 20 out of 27 save opportunities. Both teams have serious questions. That's why I'm taking the over 2.5, and I think they're settling this on the mound. And then the final game of the first day of the wild card wraps up in Southern California, where we have the Braves taking on San Diego. For the Braves, their playoffs essentially started Monday. And after dropping that first game, like I said, against the Mets, they clinched a spot in the second game, knocking out the Diamondbacks. Then they took a flight directly to California and kind of just hair in the wind kind of decided who was going to pitch. Max Fried, they don't want to use on short rest. Sale's back spasms make him an unlikely candidate. The names being floated around were Bryce Elder, AJ Smith-Shawver, and Ian Anderson, the last of which being the most likely. By the way, Ian Anderson has not appeared in the big leagues all season. So yeah, let me get the Padres money line minus 166. They're going with Michael King most likely. And even beyond the mismatch on the mound, the Padres are hitting as well as anyone in baseball. And I honestly think they're a top team in the NL at the moment. Whereas Atlanta eked their way into the postseason while getting Albies back has helped. I think the Padres are in a great spot to put this series away quickly. I'm taking San Diego all day in this matchup. Like I mentioned in the Brewers and Mets when I was talking about it, I was thinking also in terms of series. That's why the remainder of the games on Wednesday and Thursday, I just blatantly took series winners. So I have the series going to Houston, even after the first game one loss. Check the odds to make sure they improve after this because I only checked before, but it's minus 184. Royals, Orioles. I think Orioles take the series minus 162 odds. You know, like I said earlier, Mets at Brewers, it goes to 3 games at minus 110. And then Braves, Padres. I think Padres take the series at minus 164. Yeah, you know, I talk about the Brewers and Raven. I know you really are into the Milwaukee Brewers. So, what you have any extra thoughts, I guess, on that? The going to 3 games.
I mean, 3 games I do think is the most realistic scenario, just knowing this team as well. I mean, like you said earlier, the pitching depth isn't as great as it used to be, with a lot of the key absences or key people leaving in the last few years. That being said, doesn't mean we don't have anyone in the bullpen. We do have a few guys I like. You know, it is going to be a pitching matchup overall. I do think the bats are going to be a big part of it. I think it's going to be high-scoring games. I think it's going to be exciting baseball. You know, both teams got really good outfields for the Brewers especially. They can cover so much ground. I don't know. You got Willy Adames, who's been absolutely dominant. Yeah, great one. He's just been doing so well the last 2 months. And yeah, like you said, Christian Yelich has not been great this year. He's kind of been streaky at some points throughout the season, but he's one of the veterans of this team, and he will definitely make some moments when his team needs it most. Betting wise, I don't know. Let me go cook in the stew for a sec.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean that's really all I've got for baseball because you know not much is going on until with any other team until these guys get out of the first round or I'm sorry, the wild card. Yeah. With that being said, we good to move into the WNBA. Any last thoughts, Raven?
I'm taking. I mean, you already said Brewers taking the series. I think just for the single game tonight, I'm not seeing an over-under on the score, but if it's an over, let's say like 6.5, 7 is the bet, I would slam the over on that. I think it's going to be like a 5-6, 6-6,
Okay.
6-7 game.
Okay, so you're thinking double digits final score.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a high-scoring game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the odds of that off the top of my head, but I would definitely assume they're pretty decent, especially because, you know, the smallest over-under is the Tigers-Astros.
Yeah, over-under is 7.5.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I would probably smash that too. Consider it. You know, obviously, like I always say, these are always just options. I never want nor have to tell you, like, what to bet on exactly. Please always remember it's your money, it's your choice. Yeah. That being said, let's move on to the WNBA. We're already in the semifinals since last week, which is insane to think about because I think we were talking about round 1.
Yeah, literally a week ago today, we were talking about round 1, and now we're in the semifinals.
Yeah, with game 2 tonight. You know, 6:30 Central Time, Las Vegas Aces in New York to play the Liberty. Liberty already leads 1-0, and honestly, I think they take it again tonight with the spread being -4.5 at -108 odds. The Liberty entered the postseason being the number 1 seed and favored to win, and with good reason. They had the league's top offensive efficiency rating and a lineup with 4 players averaging double figures, led by Brianna Stewart. Their depth and size overwhelmed most of their opponents this season, and that honestly seemed to be the case against the Aces in in game 1. While the Liberty made 50% of their shots, they out-rebounded the Aces by 9 and held them to just 43.3% from the field and an abysmal 7 of 25 from 3. Stewart dropped 34. Ionescu added 21, and Jones chipped in 13. 6 other players on the Liberty also found the bottom of the net, meaning 9 total contributed at least 2 points. That's not something you hear a lot of in WNBA semifinals games, which makes it a lot more impressive. Now, obviously they can't expect consistent scoring like that from Stewart, but any extra attention that they give to her will open up things for the rest of the team's weapons. And when those things get going, this home crowd is insane. Game 2 will be a little bit of different kind of energy, though, I think. It being a weeknight and the Liberty coming in with a series lead. But I think they know what's at stake and sort of understand how tough their opponent are, especially because it was the Aces who defeated them in last year's finals. So, like I said, Liberty, I think they go 2-0 in 2 games, -4.5 spread at -108 odds. Moving on to the 8:30 game, Connecticut Sun in Minnesota to take on the Lynx. The Connecticut Sun are already up 1-0 as the lower seed, so they won in Minnesota game 1. Incredible. I think I was this is the hardest one I was pondering with, just because I was debating back and forth between Suns money line and Suns +5. I decided on Suns +5 at -114 odds, just because I do think that Minnesota can get back in this series after a terrible fourth quarter doomed them in game 1. They scored only 8 points in the fourth quarter of game 1, just FYI. But I'm not really super sold on it being this huge margin of victory. They're the top 2 in the league in defensive rating, and they're also 2 of the slower paced teams in the league. So just kind of naturally, it's going to be hard to build a major lead on either side, I think. They've been solid against the spread on the road this season, 12-9, and I was really impressed with how they weathered the storm after falling behind late in the third quarter. If Ty Harris returns in this series, the Suns may be the favorite to advance. I think they keep it close. Game 2, Tuesday night, tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Time. Anything else you got, Raven?
Betting wise, not really. I mean, I'm more of the fantasy football betting, which is not something most people I feel like are fully know what it is.
Yeah.
But you can pick a game, or you can pick a league wide night like on a Sunday, and then you would pick your best 5. 2 of the players have a multiplier to them. So one of them has a 2 times boost, the other has a 1.5 times boost. The other 3 players have just a 1-time boost, but you only have a certain amount of money to draft each player.
Okay.
And the players all cost a different amount of money.
Gotcha.
And then you're competing against everyone who's put in the pool, and then the highest numbers, the more you score, the more money you win. I like that a lot, just because it's less of, betting on the outcome, but more so betting on performance, which I feel like I am more able to do so. I'm really bad at betting outcomes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Stuff like that I think is fun, and there's a few good games this week. I mean, you got the Jets-Vikings game. I think that's a really, really fun one to bet some on, just because, you're getting some former teammates with Aaron Jones and Rodgers both playing on their new teams against each other.
That's right.
So that's going to be a just really fun game to watch.
Yeah, true. And this is all on fantasy, FanDuel still too.
It's called FanDuel Fantasy, I believe.
Oh,
It's
okay.
not a sports. It's not the
Okay.
same sports book app, but you use your same account for it.
Gotcha. Okay. I think I haven't seen that one, but I have seen other ones they've put out before that are kind of like that.
Yeah.
Where you can just sign into the new app. Yeah. Well, yeah, check that out. I know I will, and I'll be bringing you guys probably some fantasy updates also coming back Thursday. But, that's all I've got today. Tune in for more this Thursday on the Alithio Network YouTube page. Don't forget to check out other Alithio Network shows like Chicago Hockey Radio, Forum Blues, Good Morning Hockey, Let's Cool One. They're available everywhere, meaning YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get either video or audio. Audio for this will also be out shortly after the live ends. And don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube or smash the 5-star ratings and follow on Spotify and Apple Pods. Thank you guys. Have a great week. I'll see you Thursday, 11 a.m. Central. Peace.